Hello everyone, and welcome to the Deepbluerenegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deepbluerenegade, and I'd like to welcome you guys to episode 284. Today is Saturday, July 13, 2019, and I'm glad you could join me today. I have spent the day out of the house for the most part. It turned out I had a lot more things to do than I had time I needed away from the house, but worked out. I managed to do a pretty big loop of the east half of North Dallas. Does that even make sense? Whatever. So, It replaced all of the doorknobs and hardware and handles and stuff like that in the bathrooms downstairs, so I was donating all of that stuff to the restore. So I went to the Habitat for Humanity, which I thought was really cool. And this guy walked in, he's like, "What, you're donating this?" I'm like, "Yes." And he's like, "Can I have it?" And the cashier's like, $5. Pay no mind that it probably was $500 for all this stuff, but yeah, it was from 1994. There's probably some depreciation. Oh well, whatever. It's gonna be put in the house, and it was perfectly fine in this house, aside from the fact it looked a little dated, so whatevs. And then I went to the mall, and I played some Wizards Unite, and ended up buying some shorts. I don't know, my favorite pair of shorts is AWOL. I'm not entirely sure what's going on, and then I'm wearing a pair of khaki shorts today, but they're awful. Well, they're awful because they don't have back pockets. Front pockets are not good for holding your phone. Just saying. And then I went to the local yarn shop as a part of my loop. Ended up spinning for an hour or so. I got there pretty close to closing time, but no big deal. And then I made my way back home, and here we are. So I did get a little bit of crafting done today, so that's cool. Oh, I started my journey going to Lowe's and returning something we bought that didn't fit. Whatever. So, I think that covered, yeah. Hopefully I don't have too many more errands I need to run. I don't know. And then there's probably going to be some light cleaning of the house to make it look super nice. I think so far there have been 8 showings of the house. That's good. It went on the market Monday. No offers yet, but whatever. We'll see if people want to see it a second time. That tends to be a pretty good sign. So, not too crazy. And there's been a decent amount of knitting, so that's cool. Let's start here. Let's see how close I can get this. So this is my Inara wrap that I have daisy chained right now. Because it's a lot of shawl. It's a lot of shawl, y'all. And because I have it daisy chained, it's a little bit longer even than it will be for reals, but such is life. So I just started section 11. Yay! So I finished 10, which is this bluish purple yesterday, and then I tied on my green yarn. So I haven't even started section 11 yet, but I'm definitely done with 10. So I have my blue purple, dark teal, blue, light teal, blue, dark teal, bluish purple, forest green, and then I have my reddish purple at the very end. So I just have to do the neutral and dark green section, and then the reddish purple and neutral section at the end. So, and then we will be done. There is no way that I'm finishing this before I leave to go to SSK. I'll have to decide whether or not I actually want to just leave it leave it home. don't know, I suppose it's close to being complete, so I could bring it with me. It's just the case where it's a lot of yarn. um, like, this is probably like solidly 3, maybe even a 4 skein project. So it's the large size wrap. I know for a fact that my gradient, which is Canon Hyundai's Leo Merino Cashmere Silk, is 2 skeins worth of yarn, and then my neutral, I got 2 skeins of that. I'm working the 2nd skein right now, and that is a lot. Or it's 2 skeins there. I'm gonna have a decent amount left over of that one, so that's why I'm sort of debating whether it is a 3 or 4. But like, that's a lot of stuff to carry around. It's been awkward for quite some time as a carry around project, but it's better than a sweater, so the sweater might be a better carry around project now. Little did I know. So I keep a daisy chain, and it occasionally just hops out of my bag. I hop down my bag at the wall. But oh well, such is life. I am enjoying the pattern. Whatever, it's pretty autopilot, but the color changes make it interesting. Like, I haven't gotten bored with it, you know what I mean? Because it's fun to make it to the next color, it's fun to make it to the next block. There's a certain progression about how everything comes together. There's definitely one part of the chart where it isn't quite as autopilot, and I've screwed that up a couple of times, and unfortunately you get sort of far before you realize you need to make a change of course, but it's not terrible. It's 130 some stitches, so it's like, not too crazy. And it's close, but I don't know. I'll figure something out. Like, I'm gonna have to figure something out for her project. Would it be, though it is possible that I might just be able to do like a super duper long burn on the sweater I'm knitting and call it good. Who knows? Uh-oh. The dear sweet loved one's calling me. So we'll figure out if it's important and pause. He can text me. He texted love you. I don't know what he's talking about, but I don't know. So I'm enjoying how it's coming out. I really like this dark saturated bluish purple. It's really pretty. So not too bad. And it's gonna be a monster. Like, I'll probably block it so that it's wider, because this is probably a bit narrow. And it may just be the case where it turns out to be pretty scarfy in the end. I don't know. It's been entertaining to knit, so that was part of it. And then I like how I've sort of incorporated the gradient both ways. It certainly gives a very different look having all of the neutral blocks in it. So I don't know if it's the case where it's maybe like a little bit less recognizable as the pattern itself since it doesn't have the gradients going 2 ways, but oh well, such is life. So that has gotten at least a decent amount of love. I don't remember where I was last week. It seems like I've been doing a block a week for a while now. Okie doke. So, as I alluded to earlier, I am working on a sweater. So I am working on the Vitamin D, which is a Heidi Kermeyer pattern, and I'm in recovery mode right now. So, you'll see I'm magic looping right now. So I started off knitting this in the round. I started off knitting this flat, and then I realized that I was going to have tremendously awkward pooling. So I decided to start working it in the round. I don't have needles small enough because I'm knitting this on 3mm needles. Which is it's the awkward zone, it's the US 2.5. I had these super duper long needles. There's no way, like the stitches do all fit on the shaft. But yeah, no, there's just no way that I could work this guy in the round unless I had a very different needle set. And for some reason, these guys are just super long. So I have the rest of the sweater on the original needle on holders. So you can see my little stitch holders there, no big deal. And I'm working this in the round. And there's probably going to be some stuff that I'm going to have to zhuzh and block out, but hopefully that won't be too crazy. But yeah, no, this is going to be how the sweater's going to be for a little while now. So, Vitamin D, her Heidi Kermeyer, I'm knitting it out of Claudia's hand-painted yarn in the Contemplation Lace in Lone Star color. So I'm guessing that was a show special for DFW Fiberfest. I got this at Fiberfest 2018. So, not too crazy. It has this cute eyelet pattern. I'm trying to figure out the way of providing the best contrast. Whatever. It has this cute eyelet pattern. The yarn is fairly variegated. It does have the potential for pool, and I'm managing it by alternating skeins. I'm definitely knitting tighter in the round. So the pattern recommends that you knit the sleeve flat to head off any gauge changes. But I'm sort of, and we're talking very different yarn usage. Very different yarn usage between what was going on, but we're just dealing. So we'll see after I get a few rows in how it's working up, if it's working up nicer. But what had happened was that all of the light colors were on one half of the sleeve and all of the dark were on another, and I needed to knit 11 inches plain, and it just wasn't gonna fly. And because it's linen, it is a pain to weave in ends, so I couldn't just pull a length of yarn and weave it in, because it's not gonna hide. It's not gonna hide very well. Yeah, basically. So I really hope that this plan works. So because I'm now knitting all the time, that is tie knit my gauge, so that has changed how it's going to be pooling. And I think, or what would it be? So if I tied up my gauge, then it's not going to stack anymore. It's probably going to do a spiral at this point, because it was a strangely accurate planned pooling thing. Well, yeah. And yeah, no, that wasn't going to be what I wanted for the sweater. I was contemplating whether or not I needed to pull from the other end of the ball, but I couldn't get the knot undone that I had tied. So I just went with the same side. But considering that I did a row and a half with the original bit of yarn, I suspect it will be fine. But who knows? So, and then what I'm doing is when I get to the last stitch of the row, I'm just working both, and then I continue on with the other one. So hopefully that works out. So it was like really bad getting this onto Magic Loop, but as I have gone away from the or what would it be? Like, it's super duper miserable with like a backwards loop cast on, and yeah, super duper miserable with a backwards loop cast on and interchangeable needles, and it looks like I need to tighten my needles down in order to get everything flowing nicely, but not too crazy. So it is quite possible that for my extended awesome knitting vacation that I could just work on this sweater the whole stupid time. It's a possibility. Probably have to sort that one out too, whatever. Because I have quite a lot of knitting to go. I don't have oodles of knitting time at the moment, but I will have lots of knitting time these coming weeks, which is cool. So, I don't know, whatever. So, we shall see. But now that I've sort of got it rolling again, it'll probably be okay. And I'll be probably on Sleeve Island for quite some time. As you do. And, like, I don't particularly like Magic Loop, but even though it seems like I've been knitting quite a few, or it feels like I've knit quite a few sweaters using my 3mm needles. I don't own multiple like shaft lengths of 3mm needles, so perhaps that will change. Was it recently the Knit Girls had reviewed the Xiaoyu shorties, which have 3-inch tips and 2-inch tips, and then super short cords, so you could actually put together some interchangeable so you could actually have interchangeable short length needles, so like 12, 16, 9. That, I don't know, it sounds nice. I don't mind working with shorty needles. Like, if you think about my knitting inception, it was scarves for a while, but then it was like a metric boatload of hats. And it's super duper beautiful. Like, I really do enjoy just working in the round, like a mad fool. Knitting and purling doesn't matter, as long as I'm just motoring up in spiral. I'm pretty happy camper, so that will be a really nice thing to check out for SSK. We'll see whether or not I pull the trigger. And figure out whether or not House of Yarn has like mad sale on tools. They might not, though. Oh well. So I'm glad that I have recovered this project. It seems like it is pooling much friendlier now, and at some point I'll have to take a pause and figure out whether or not things are fitting right sleeve-wise, but it did seem, I don't know, at some point I'll have to figure it out, but that doesn't quite have to be now. So then after I do this sleeve, then I'll have the other sleeve, and right now I'm alternating ball 1 and ball 3. And then ball 2 is still attached at the place of joining, so we'll figure something out. Maybe it's the case where I was supposed to take both sleeves off before doing stuff, but whatever, we'll make it work. And what would it be? And it'd also be interesting to see, because the rest of this sweater is actually quite a lot of, or the next section of the sweater is like massive short rows. So I'm not quite sure my strategy. I'm not quite sure what my strategy is going to be on yarn alternation in that section. I haven't figured it out yet. But, I don't know. It shouldn't be too crazy, but... oh well. It's also... yeah, whatever. Like, we got quite the tangle going on here, so... we'll make it work. Let's see. Anything else that I want to say about this? Still enjoying working with the linen. What would it be? It's not the softest, fluffiest material ever, but it does work. It definitely isn't too hot to work with in the summer. Like, I think this week was like our first 100 degree day, maybe. So, so that definitely squashes the knitting mojo for sure. What would it be? And what was it? I ended up rearranging things for showing the house. So normally I would have my spinning wheel downstairs by the couch where I have the amps, so then I can whatever, watch videos, play music, whatever, and have everything be down there. But because we're showing whatever, because the house is on show, I decided that I was going to limit whatever. I was going to concentrate the weird in a few places. I don't know whether or not I succeeded in whatever, just concentrating it highly in a few places, but whatever. It might be just lightly distributed across the upstairs. So, I'm keeping my spinning wheel and my computer in the knitting room now, and so that requires the activation energy of going upstairs to work with it. So, it hasn't been quite as high this week in terms of spinning, which is funny considering that Tour de Fleece is going on, so whatever. So, whatever, I guess I'll just finish this half and then call it good for the time being. So, that sort of segues into spinning nicely. So I am actually still working on my final second skein. So this is the combing waist that I combed for a second time on the final third of the fleece. And this is Shunny the Fleece, which is a Corriedale cross BFL cross Shetland. So half Corriedale, quarter BFL, quarter Shetland. And unfortunately, like, it's a little bit of a hot mess right now, but I am plying it. I made a center pull ball with a PVC pipe Nosta pin, I think Saturday night, something like that. And I am very nearly there, so close. But, what was it? It's also looking like a little, underspun in there, so I was rushing a little bit because I was trying to finish it before the yarn store closed at 4. I failed. But I am very, very close. So that'll give me some good yardage for Stash Desk because I haven't finished anything in quite some time. And spinning is the way to victory for me. And my spinning mojo has been super low, so I can't remember if I had, I think I had finished the singles last week, so I got a decent amount done. It just is a little bit of a grind on the plying end, but whatever, such is life. So I just had like a little bit more to go, and yeah, no, it's looking very different than the other stuff, so I should probably do something to figure out how far back it goes. I hope I wasn't accidentally pulling it the wrong way. And I was pretty chill. And then the women of the local yarn shop were all very fascinated with the wheel, because the local yarn shop is not a spinning shop, so a lot of the people are like, buying yarn's fine, making yarn's crazy. But then we're also like, oh wow, like it's really nice to hear the rhythmic thing of the whatever, the treadles and that sort of thing. So I'm like, I might hook them, maybe not. So it's okay. I enjoy spinning, so it keeps me happy. And I haven't started the bat yet. I think part of that's just because I haven't started to travel, and also contemplating whether or not I just want to pack the wheel. So it is the case where I normally keep the wheel in birds. Normally I put the wheel in a rolling suitcase. So I think with like enough fragile stickers, like I think it could be okay. In which case I wouldn't be spinning with my Bosworth. But considering that there's going to be like a decent amount of uninterrupted spinning time, could be positive. So I'll have to decide at some point. But that might end up, I know, maybe that changes what I end up bringing with me to SSK, what projects I'm packing, that sort of thing. I know it was definitely a case where I missed my wheel a lot in 2017. And it didn't help the fact that I couldn't borrow a Lendrum because Jillian Moreno was using the Lendrum, so like, So I will have to decide. What was it? I'm probably not going to bring my other accoutrements with me, so there's that. And like there's a lot of stuff like available that you can borrow, so I don't think that'll be a super duper big deal. It's just a matter of making sure everything is safe. But I'm definitely leaning that way. So it's possible that once I finish this project, I'll just pack everything up, and then weigh it and make sure it's not overweight, as you do. So that's sort of where I'm leaning right now, and then it'd be the case where, again, when you're like, hey, I brought my wheel anyways. We shall see. What was it? I'm very excited. So there are a couple of other things that I need to do as well. So what is it? So last week I ended up sitting down and figuring out everything that I needed for my planned pooling breakout session. But I haven't written out notes, but maybe that would be helpful for me. I don't know. You guys get unscripted Molly anyways, but I don't know. You have to, what would it be? I could see how it would be helpful for people to be able to figure out on their own, will this yarn even work for a planned pooling project? And then maybe go into, what would it be, cast on, and then start trying to get everything right with respect to stitch count and gauge and making things line up the way you want to. and then maybe going like a little bit more advanced into, what would it be? Talk about like, okay, here's what happened, here's what's going to happen when you knit in the round, here's what's going to happen when you knit flat, and what that means. You know what I mean? So, like for example, if you want an argyle pattern in your plan pooling, you have to be knitting flat. It's impossible to get an argyle pattern while knitting in the round because it'll either spiral one way or the other way or be perfectly vertical. Because you're sort of recreating how the yarn was dyed. So if you have a yarn like Wollmeise that was dyed in blocks, is way easier to work with than something that's been like kettle dyed. Like you can't do it with kettle dye yarn. You can't do it with speckles. You can't. You know what I mean? So I'm going to bring examples of yarn you can't do it with, maybe blow people's mind a little bit with, say, for example, working with a self-striping yarn. And though that's going to be long, that's going to be a plan pooling scarf where you're working the other way. But what would it be? And part of it is just sort of workshopping a little bit with, like getting personal with your gauge. Is if there was anything about a plan pooling project, it really informed me a lot about, oh wow, in order for me to work in stockinette flat, or to incorporate a lace pattern or something like that, like I need to knit loose, purl tight in order to actually hit the same gauge on both sides. So I realized I'm a very loose purler. So sort of helping people through that, and maybe they bring a skein of yarn that they want to do a plan pooling project with, and it shouldn't be too crazy. I haven't checked to see how many people want to do it, but a few people have said they did, so. So, excited about that. Excited that I took care of the clothes thing. That was good. I got some like super awesome leggings. It was for the fabulous athleisure lifestyle. So I wasn't quite done with spinning. I did get a pretty good burn on this spindle project. So I am now past the halfway mark, which is cool. So I have one row log in the bottom, and this is a blend of Kiviot, camel, and camel silk that I turned into row logs from Judith Mackenzie's Glorious Downs class. So I'm working on my third row log, and then I have 2 whole ones left at this point. Now, you can't really tell whether or not I have oodles more on here, and hopefully I can get some good yardage because I'm planning on applying it with this silk thread, which I think is appropriately fine. It looks like the silk thread is just a bit finer than this. So I have 100 meters of silk thread, and I can buy more if I need more. No big deal. So, coming along, what's probably going to end up happening is I'll make the yarn and then I'll dye it because I'm not into this dusty pink that I've got going on here. So what's happened is I've mixed this pink and purple camel silk that Judith Mackenzie dyed with the natural camel and the Kiviot. And it's, I'm not a pastels person. I'm not really a pinks person, but I was in a pink mood on that day I took the class, so that was the fiber I grabbed. I think as the blue wasn't available, but such is life. So, not too crazy. So it's coming along nicely. I'm glad that I'm past the halfway mark. I was at the halfway mark, I guess, the last time I talked to you guys about this, but this has been a good little spindle project. And I managed to get a decent amount done yesterday while I was waiting for my friend Sarah to come to knit night. So that was good. So coming along, it definitely is a more special spin. I have to figure out the appropriate way of putting it back into my Talenti container. So this isn't a nice little container, so what would it be? And what was it? Debbie reminded me that I need a container to protect my Bosworth as well. So I don't have anything that's coming to mind right now, though. I may just have to construct a little box. Who knows? So there is that. So I suspect, or would be, knowing that silk's gonna dye beautifully, I will find some way to make it blue. It's possible that I actually just have a decent amount of food coloring that I can use to implement the make blue process, and I'm sure it'll be gorgeous. So that shouldn't be too crazy. So, much excitement for SSK, much excitement for a week off after SSK, and all of that fun stuff. One thing that I think I forgot last week, pretty sure I forgot, was I did end up getting 8 ounces of fiber. So 4 years ago, there was the Mega Cell, which was a Terry Pratchett themed, in his memory, because he had recently died, spin along with a bunch of different dyers that were participating. So Southern Cross Fiber, Hello Yarn, Nest, Fat Cat Fibers, Spunky Eclectic. I think that was everyone. And I really loved this colorway, but I totally missed the update. And I'd been sort of like scoping it out in D-Stash for quite some time, and it finally came up. So I now have 4-year-old BFL Silk that was dyed by Jen of Nest in this gorgeous colorway. So this is the Maiden's Wish colorway. And as you can tell, these are totally Molly colors going on here. So there is blue, green, and sort of a, I don't know, fuchsia, magenta-y color, and then turquoise. So all good things for the Molly on this like gorgeous BFL silk base. So when I came up for D-Stash, I'm like, yes, I'm on it. So and it wasn't terrible. So I now have some Nest fiber that I could spend for Tour de Fleece, except I'm all booked up and spending for like months, but whatever. So I'm really glad that I finally got my hands on this colorway. I'd seen it spun up. I always thought it was gorgeous. So what would it be? And I really liked how it looked sort of as like a barber pole, so I can definitely see doing a fractal spin with this. Could be very fun. So that's sort of vaguely what I'm looking for. And then 8 ounces makes for a pretty good size garment. So I don't know, a reasonable size shawl, I think. Or would it be? Because at this point, like 100 grams isn't enough for a shawl. So yay! So that arrived earlier than expected, which was cool. So I was excited about that. I don't think I shared it last week. If not, I'm going crazy. It's not like there's too much hanging out in the stash right now. And then, what would it be? The other thing is I probably need to figure out what my next move is going to be with respect to projects, because I will be finishing the Inara wrap soon, and that'll be good yardage. That'll be a pretty nice chunk. So I have to figure out if I'm going to be, what was it? If I'm going to be knitting my nephew's Joris. So I had pulled out, or I made sure to keep 2. So I have my Sun Valley Fibers, which may or may not be self-striping. And then I have my Undead yarn in this, in the color that was inspired by the DFW Fiber Fest logo. So those are definitely options there. We shall see. So this one is Rendezvous, and this one is Spider, whatever. So, I don't know. So I'd set these 2 aside to knit Joris, so I'll just hold the fingering doubles in order to make the thing. I have my fiber fill, like, where was my oyster? And one thing that I'm excited to try on is the Modulancho. So, what was it? Amy of the Stalking and Zombies version was so gorgeous. What was it? Memphis Holly is bringing one for the try-on room, so I'm excited to see that. And bizarrely, big noises. For some reason, I'm just oddly drawn to using my hedgehog. I don't know, this safety yellow might just be too bold. And I don't know whether or not 3 skeins would be enough, but I don't know. Maybe I don't need a poncho, but I want to try. I feel very poncho positive. And I could wind this monster, which is an overdyed skein of Lomisa, to knit a Viajante for my cousin. I told her the secret to getting knit goods, and so then she did the necessary things. But then, what's better SSK knitting than a boxy? So, and this would be another oversized, extra long boxy that I would be making because I really do love mine. And this one, it'd be sort of like a mashup between Floof and the boxy because I would be holding it with the, so I have my mohair silk, and then I have my other nice stuff. I think that this is a merino cashmere silk. Like, it would make for the most, yeah, it is 48% recycled silk, 36% fine merino, 16% cashmere. I lost my mind at that DFW Fiber Fest. I just went completely insane. So I think, it's going to be the case where it's going to be pretty sophisticated because you'd have the black and the blue, and the blue has tonalness to it as well because I think it's a ply of the silk and then a ply of the merino wool. From what based on the ratios, it seems like that's what's going on, so that's why it took dye maybe a little bit differently. So, super gorgeous, but a lot of ball winding for sure. I'm probably leaning towards the stuffies, but and then also I could make a Hitafude with my recent sweater spin. So this is my Gloria skein. So this was the project that took me 6 months to spin. So I don't know. Probably can't heck at all. Depends on how boring of an it. I mean, I suppose a sweater will be appropriately boring, so then kicking it up a notch to doing sort of that more complicated pattern is not crazy. I'll have to make sure that I have my double points with me. And I definitely don't have little safety eyes. I'm probably not going to get safety eyes in time. I definitely ordered a swimsuit and paid for the 2-day shipping. Whatever. Such is life. What do I mean? I'm just very excited to be going on vacation. It just sounds super delicious right now. I've been going so hard since, I don't know, October, November, something like that. That sort of the stress relief of not needing to worry about the house, not needing to worry about getting a job, not needing to worry about my current job just sounds so delicious. So there's that. Oh, I have like secret yarn. Like more yarn than I thought it did. That was all. It seemed. So I have like a bag of like small balls, and then I have a bag of like stuff that I could make a fairly substantial project with, and then I guess I have like a second bag of substantial amounts of stock leftovers, but none of them would have made good. None of them would have made good plain pooling stuff. So that's all over here laid out. So, how do I get the wheels with less awkwardly in the way? There we go. So you can sort of see all of my planned pooling stuff over there. So whatever. Not too crazy. You would think I had a Steadicam with my cardboard box, but that was pretty smooth. So, obviously enough, I'm excited. I'm pretty jazzed about what's coming. I managed to make like a 50-minute episode on whatever's going on in my life right now. You haven't even heard the drama. I'm not sharing the drama, so it's okay. What would it be? There was some whiplash this week, but I think we're back on an even keel, so it'll be all right. Let's see. Anything else I want to talk about? So, I won't be recording for a while. I will decide whether or not I want to record while I'm on my trip. I'm probably going to bring my computer because there are some things that you can only do with one. And I want to be prepared if nonsense occurs. Not that I think nonsense will occur, but whatever, such is life. But there are some things you just don't want to do from the phone, so I think that's going to be coming with on the trip. And considering that I won't be in the house, it probably makes sense to do it that way. So not too crazy. And then I will, what would it be schlepping stuff from place to place. So it may not be until, because I'm pretty sure I'm getting back late as well. So, so it may not be, I might end up recording on the, I might end up recording on the 31st, even though It's not perfect, but it could be all the way to the 3rd. I don't know. We'll just make it work. So, and then I will share all of my excitement about all of the cool knitting and spinning things that I've been up to during my lovely break. So, so with that, I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your July, and I look forward to talking to you guys soon. So, take care, guys. Bye-bye.